Flash games. They were pretty much my entire childhood, and we're fastly approaching the 3-year anniversary of when Flash was discontinued. In a stroke of inspiration, I downloaded a Flash archive and got to playing all my favorite classics from when I was a kid. And oh, let me tell you, some of them were great and held up even years later, while others, let's just say I'd rather get a vasectomy without anesthetic than play 10 seconds longer of this god-awful game. Anyway, I've gathered some of the most garbage, utter god-awful Flash games and some of the best, most banger, crackin' Flash games I could find, and yeah, I put them on a tier list. It's in the title. You know, as ancient Chinese general Sun Tzu once said, Flash games are dope as hell, motherfucker. But not this game. Cargo Bridge, the game where you build you build the motherfucking bridge. Construct a blueprint for a bridge, build it, have weird Mario lookalikes pick up crates, rinse and repeat. That's the game. You know, I don't got a whole lot to say about this one except the fact that it absolutely sucks and I don't have nearly enough lasting brain cells to put together a structurally integral bridge. And this game leaves me with so many questions like, why can't I build a bridge? Why are the connectors only so long? Why hasn't my dad come back yet? Most of the time it ends up going fine at the start, but then halfway through the bridge collapses and then, But really, this game isn't too bad at its core and just suffers from requiring an IQ above room temperature, which I clearly don't possess. D tier. Next up is Hangar, one of the less popular games on the list in which your task is to simply swing toward the goal despite loss of multiple appendages. Featuring many different obstacles such as giant ball and wall of blocks, this game leaves a lot to be desired in the gameplay, essentially being swinging from platform to platform. On top of the fact that sometimes you'll successfully grapple but then, oh look, you're too low, fuck you, back to the start. This game just incentivizes playing carefully and slow, and my ADHD goldfish attention span brain is simply not capable of that, as it wants to go as fast as humanly possible. Not terrible, just very simple and a little boring. Fuck this game, and fuck anyone who plays it. Moving on, we have Red Ball, and ooh, don't get me started on this stupid round red fuck. You move Red Ball through numerous obstacle courses while facing spikes, more spikes, and what the fuck, a ninja. The objective of each level is to reach the flag at the end, which can often be a lot easier said than done. Some of the levels feel like they're designed to make you fail, like what the fuck is this bullshit? The whole game feels like you're playing in Honey as the controls are unresponsive, slow, and inconsistent. I smashed my head against the wall repeatedly trying to beat this stupid shopping cart level for over an hour and a half before giving up, signing the dev up for the US military, and moving on. 9 out of 10 experts say this game fucking blows. D tier. B cubed. You roll a cube around to get rid of every platform and then eventually reach the end. That's the game. Well, not actually, because they slowly implement various different gimmicks like blocks you have to roll over twice, platform creating blocks, and what the fuck is that? Half the time you'll be rolling around not thinking before all of a sudden you realize you messed up and just roll off again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Sure, completing the levels is mildly stimulating, but once it gets to the point that it feels more like trial and error than lateral thinking, I hate it. Not much to say about this game because it's incredibly simple and incredibly boring. Magnificent. Probably the best of the D tiers, but still bad. Smiley Sun Roll Around, Star Stun Roll, what the fuck is this game called? Star Island. A game where you play through various levels collecting mini stars as a star before rolling into the star corridor on the Star Island. Much like all the games in D tier, this one is really simple. Dodge the nut throwing squirrel bastards in the trees, collect stars, win. This game suffers from being unapologetically hard with only 3 lives for the entire game, and really, I mean really shit controls. I spent about 20 seconds on this one platform trying to strafe underneath it, but got teleported back up top every single time. Not to mention the movement is incredibly drifty and makes you feel like you're permanently playing with ice physics. Brutal off-screen enemies, sudden hits that come out of nowhere, this game truly and utterly sucks. D tier. Fancy Pants games, woo! Everyone loves them, and since they're all more or less the same, I chose to play Fancy Pants 3. This game is honestly pretty good, all things considered. You play as Fancy Pants who can run up walls, do sick-ass backflips, and destroy the local rodent population. You know, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure that fucker is not registered for that firearm, so we gotta hit him with the whoop. After going through some cool platforming sections, bouncing off springs, and maybe being the worst gamer the world has ever seen, you reach an ominous hole that states, "Beware, Angry Penguin." And of course, unsurprisingly at the bottom, there is in fact an angry penguin. You lead him into bashing his chrome dome into the wall at Mach 9 a few times, and jump on him and you win. The game may be short and sweet, but lots of fun. C tier. Following up on the theme of platforming adventures is Avalanche, a cute game where you pilot a penguin throughout a series of platforming levels. This game holds a special place in my heart because every time you jump, the penguin gives you a little... I mean, fucking adorable. Look at this little goblin as he leads his family into hypothermic shock. After a couple levels, you gain what every Fortnite player loved in Season 2 the most, and that's Rocket Riding, where you basically take your penguin from slow, pitiful levels of speed to... rinse and repeat, you traverse through the snow across the levels. Art's good, music's pretty baller, and the gameplay is decent enough. C tier. Now, it's time for the most controversial opinion of the video. As Sun Tzu stated in The Art of War, fuck the impossible game. That shit is ass. Yeah, that's right, baby. It's time for the impossible quiz, which is not... It's not good. This game features a series of questions that you have to answer. Well, duh, no shit, it's a quiz, but the gimmick is that they all make 0 sense, or most of them do. What was the answer to question 2? Fuck if I know. What color is Blobbles? Who is supposed to know this? Sure, there's some cool levels like charging up this black circle with a key beam straight out of Dragon Ball, but otherwise this game is just miserable. Trial and error, trial and error. Oh, you didn't know that the 7th letter of the alphabet is H and not G? Sucks to suck, loser. Go back to the beginning. I contemplated putting this abysmal excuse of a quiz in D tier, but considering how iconic and sometimes fun it is to breeze through, C it is. Caveman. This game is so goddamn hard. You play as a caveman trying to save this goddamn hot girl at the top and play through multiple levels, dozens of screens each, with only 1 life. The hitboxes for the mud you sling are janky, and there's a boss to deplete your HP even more at the top of every level. You have 5 hearts, and you take half a heart in damage each time you're hit, meaning that you have 10 hits total to complete 4 different levels. Not to mention, the bosses get progressively harder and more tanky as you go from fighting, a tiger brawler that's not so bad, into Eldritch Hydra deity with, 14 hit points? Aside from the absurd level of difficulty, the gameplay itself is actually relatively enjoyable. You ball up enemy monsters in mud and pretend you're back in your childhood playing Wii Bowling. Fun game, way too hard. C tier. Next up we got Snowtail, yeah. Tale of Snow, Penguin in the Snow, Mario Penguin. The objective of this game is simple. Walk around, freeze enemies, kill enemies in cold blood, reach bell, win. There's not too much to see, not too much to say. Very simple game. You learn techniques such as rolling and double jumping, but other than that, there's not much here. It's fun for a little bit until you get bored. C tier. Go-Go Plant 2. What's not to love? You play as a middle-aged man who falls asleep during his basketball game and wakes up to find he's turning green. Now, you may be wondering, why is this man turning green? To which the game politely informs you that this seemingly average guy has survived nuclear disasters. After his sudden realization, our middle-aged protagonist then decides to go on some sort of weird shroom trip in which the walls start moving, so maybe schizophrenia? I don't know. The gameplay is pretty simple with only 3 controls. Collect the coins with your net, fly over spikes, and Chris Brown beat the shit out of anything that stands in your way. Solid C tier. Rounding out the C tier is a game I played few times and just found it very odd. Redbeard. This game feels sort of like a liminal space I wasn't supposed to be in, like the back rooms or some shit. The game feels incredibly empty due to the fact that there's no sound design outside of a scant few sound effects, which just makes the whole experience somewhat eerie. Redbeard is a simple platforming adventure where you collect orbs to open up new paths for yourself and complete each level. That's it. Now that we're done with a whole lot of mid, let's move on to where things start getting good. Starting off the B tier, we have Achilles! Now this game is a real capital B banger where you play as Greek hero Achilles, who famously said, "I'ma throw my spear at you." You play through 15 different stages with a boss stage every 3 as you kick, spear, slice, whatever the fuck this is your way through. The game is pure childish fun as you cut off Spartans' heads, kick them, or hit them with the attack from the heavens. Its only downside is it's hard, really hard. And you only get 3 lives, which seems to be a common theme with many Flash games. Very simple, very fun. B tier. The next game on our list is another iconic staple of Flash game history, being Snail Bob. You guide a seemingly lost snail through a series of puzzles from pipe to pipe to find his new home. Now I know I shit on a lot of the puzzle games I mentioned earlier like B Cubed and Cargo Bridge, but Snail Bob does things differently. Unlike its inferior predecessors, Snail Bob has taste. The puzzles aren't unintuitive, and everything makes sense while still maintaining a level of difficulty that makes you feel as though you've accomplished something, when in reality, you've really just completed a puzzle that's likely designed for children. The range of mechanics from turning around platforms to transporting yourself in a hot air balloon keep the levels fresh and enjoyable. 100% would recommend as a solid Flash game that holds up today. B tier. Sugar Sugar. Keeping the puzzle themed train going, this next game provides you with the simple goal of putting the sugar into the cup. As the sugar slowly dribbles down from the comma, you have to draw lines to direct it until 100 pieces have fallen in the mug. They add more cups and more obnoxious locations and stupid mechanics like the level text being a solid you can't pass through. However, the mechanics are fun, like this one where you have to construct your sugar conveyor so that it functions once gravity is flipped. Yeah, that one's pretty cool, and each level is fairly doable given some thinking. I promise you, this motherfucker has no idea what he's doing. Overall, a solid middle of B tier. Tank Trouble, the game where friendships die. You pit you and your fellow man against each other in a life or death encounter where whoever destroys the other tank first wins. Collect power-ups for an easier win, or ricochet off the walls like you have a geometry major.
Damn, you suck at this game.
Kill yourself. I hate this game, and it makes me very angry, but it's a lot of fun. B tier. This next game is really weird. Psychout is a game that follows an insane asylum, bald, weird guy that has to get to his other weird insane asylum girlfriend. I don't know, but the game features some interesting platforming gimmicks like running along walls, rotating gravity, and even mushrooms from Mario. The game is short, simple, and fun. Very solid B tier. Milk Quest. Milk Quest is the quest for the milk, you know, you get the quest, you get the milk, you know what I mean? The cat is thirsty. You start off in a cutscene seeing our protagonist, the cat, whining like a little baby bitch because he's out of milk. This sets him off on a journey to find the massive, delicious milk treasure. You have to figure out puzzles that my 3rd grade cousin could complete, yet somehow some of them are still somewhat challenging. There's some pretty cool sections like this one where you have to free this baby bird from the tree it's caged in before cutting it down, but I apparently gave 0 fucks because I repeatedly clicked on whatever this is before realizing he wasn't going to stop going. Shocked a Yeti, gave a bull some lean. Overall, great game. Farfalla. You're this cute little amoeba looking guy who has to save his girl who's stuck at the end of a maze as you collect balloons to open the paths ahead. The dead ends are the only annoying part that piss you off just a little bit. That's it. Cute art and some banger music. Fun platforming throughout. B tier. Ooh, this next game is an interesting one, and here we are at Icicle. This game looks really goofy on the surface, but has some really interesting level design and mechanics. You play as a naked biker after the world has supposedly frozen over, chasing a mysterious figure in the intro as he leaves bubbles behind. You travel through frozen tundra, cities, and other areas, avoiding glacial spikes, snow volcanoes, and other obstacles. There are times you have to utilize an updraft to propel yourself between narrow gaps, and times you have to patiently wait for a spike to lift you to the goal. There are 8 levels with around 4 screens each, and I don't know how I haven't mentioned this yet, but a large part of the difficulty comes from the fact that you can't go backwards at all. At the end, you finally meet your gorilla father that you've been chasing the entire time. Very good game. B tier. Now that we're done with the B tier, we've officially reached games that are absolute bangers. These Flash games transcend the previous ones tenfold, becoming what can only be described as perfect. Starting off the A tier, we have Defend Your Nuts. You see, this game's all about defending your nuts. People trying to take your nuts. Illegal firearm. People trying to take your nuts. Build a wall. People trying to take your nuts. Install explosive mines on the ground. I mean, look at this goofy fucker, this game has it all. You play as a squirrel who is simply trying to defend his nuts. However, the undead and bees apparently want to take your nuts, so you must do everything in your power to stop them, whether it's shooting them with a bow and arrow or a goddamn RPG. There are 20 days you have to play through that get increasingly more difficult as more and more enemies with increasing diversity spawn. You have to fight ogres with high HP, flies that are fast and can take your nuts if you're not careful. You can upgrade your weapons and purchase new weapons like the shotgun, rifle, and rocket launcher when available. Once you collect coins, upgrading the weapons provides either more firepower or additional effects like the rocket launcher that splits into multiple smaller rockets upon impact. After reaching day 20, what appears to be Satan tries to take your nuts, and you must take him down with your arsenal of weapons. Ton of fun and would highly recommend. Strong start to A tier. Riddle School 3. This game goes hard. Riddle School 3 is an escape room, more so escape the boring school building puzzle game, that requires you to overcome numerous obstacles to break free from school. The fat kid Chubb is blocking the door to the office, which contains the key to leave, so you have to find $1 throughout the school via many different tasks in order to buy a cookie so you can then finally give it to him so he rolls out of the way. Puzzles are fun, gameplay is good. A tier. Santa's Deep Freeze. This game is quite literally a copy and paste of the same format as Caveman, except it does everything way, way better. You now have double the amount of hit points, the healing items drop way more frequently, the bosses are actually predictable, and you get to be Santa with a fucking gun? This game is awesome! Cooler bosses, the enemies don't make me want to reenact 9/11, and unlike this simp-ass Caveman, Santa is a true Sigma going for no hose and only for the W. A tier. Burrito Bison! Revenge. Because it's better than the original. You play as a man with a bison mask or a bison with a man body that got pickpocketed by some gummy bears, so he decides to exact revenge by killing as many of them in cold blood as possible. Start off in a boxing ring and body slam off of this cookie, collecting cash and squashing gummy bears along the way. To increase your speed and distance potential, there's a wide array of upgrades in the shop that can flat out increase your speed, your ease of breaking through the many walls, or your gummy abilities. Gummy abilities are these unique gummies that you either pile drive into the concrete or go full Undertaker on. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, you can steal a propeller or even drive a plane for some extra distance. After a while, you can upgrade the boss you fight against until eventually you reach speeds so unfathomable that you become a goddamn meteor. This game is extremely addicting and is probably the one I played the most during recording. Very solid A tier. Strike Force Kiddies is next on our list and is a game that rivals Fortnite in the amount of crossovers it has. After the princess is kidnapped from the castle, the king orders 4 adorable little cats to go after her. You journey across plains, forests, and more to reach the princess and fight a boss at the end of each area. Your stats being stamina, strength, and HP can be directly upgraded from collecting these little fishies on the ground, or can be influenced by equipment. There are 4 different equipment slots, being the shirt, hat, weapon, and accessory. The stat boosted depends on the type of equipment you obtain from combat. Combat in this game is as simple as it possibly could be, with your cats simply running into them to deal damage. There are tons of recognizable outfits like the Minion, Freddy Krueger, Chun-Li, the list goes on, with each set providing you with a sometimes useful set bonus. The gameplay is pretty simple, but very enjoyable as you progress through the levels. Fuck this bastard though. A tier. With the A tier out of the way, we have reached the pinnacle of Flash gaming. These games are not only bangers, they have gone beyond to become peak. Starting off the S tier, we have Dad and Me, which is easily the Flash game I played most when I was a kid. The tale of Dad and Me follows a purple-suited kindergartner with a chainsaw mask who just wants all the smoke. Your objective is to brutally curb stomp as many toddlers as possible before having to take on Wilbur, who is most definitely on a trend cycle. I mean, look at this guy. You can quickly solve the juice pig issue with, obviously, some domestic terrorism. Now you see this bar right here? This is your rage meter, and when you get angry, you open up your body and take in prime Mike Tyson as you zoom across the screen. Fast forward, after you beat the shit out of the questionably stereotyped kids playing soccer, you get to, of course, naturally, push a group of Boy Scouts into oncoming traffic. Later, you beat the shit out of some wannabe gangsters on RVs who you have to explode by throwing an entire trash can at, but the real difficulty from this game is the ninjas. They jump and hit you with the yabow, and they hit you with the wabah. I fucking hate these bastards.
Stop. Please. Stop.
If you persevere past this point, you'll be given a free health pack, which you might have guessed means boss time, where you take on an actual gangster, Sunchips, who kinda just has a gun. But that's nothing domestic terrorism can't solve. Oh. Well, fuck. He'll breakdates on you, shoot you over and over and over before using his final smash or some shit. I don't know what this is. That's nothing a little rage can't fix though, and we have finally defeated Sunchips. Amazing art, amazing soundtrack. This game is an absolute masterpiece. 10 out of 10, S tier. Monkey Go Happy, and I mean every single Monkey Go Happy game, is peak. The gist of the game is to turn this guy from so sad into manic happy monkey via solving puzzles, fixing objects, or a wide, and I mean wide range of other things. Describing this game is kind of difficult considering there's literally dozens of games in the franchise and they each play pretty differently, but what I can say about it is that when you figure out what you're supposed to do and complete a difficult puzzle, it's a lot of fun. The gameplay hits a perfect sweet spot between not being too difficult to the point where it's not fun, and not being too easy to the point that you feel like an adult playing a game made for children. Take this puzzle for example, where you have to break down a painting to reveal a safe, fog up the mirrors to get the code in Roman numerals, and then translate that number to receive a golden bouncy ball. It's short, simple, and fun. This is probably my favorite game of all time, and I would highly recommend trying any of them for anyone thinking of playing Flash games. S tier. Defend Your Nuts 2! Now this game is once again very peak. Everything that Defend Your Nuts 1 didn't have, Defend Your Nuts 2 does. You get access to 3 new weapons besides the bow, being the blunderbuss, wizard staff, and bomb, although the new blunderbuss functions essentially the same as the shotgun. The wizard staff is a long-range mini AoE powerful shot, and the bomb is basically an improved version of the rocket launcher. However, what really sets this game apart from its predecessor is the enemy variety, like this guy that's pretty fast, and these annoying pieces of shit that just destroy your hard-earned wall at any chance they get. They also added in little sidekick bunnies that help defend your nuts in the form of either a wizard, archer, warrior, rogue, or healer. These little guys are upgradable and can dish out some pretty nasty damage once fully upgraded. Additionally, once you reach day 12, you collect a sweatband that reduces the amount of time it takes to fully charge a shot, which also results in a smoother gameplay experience. A lot of the time in Defend Your Nuts 1, I'd find myself just waiting to fully charge a shot, when in Defend Your Nuts 2, the overall faster pace leaves a smoother gameplay experience. Once again, the game finishes with a boss battle against this skeleton wizard guy, which pretty much plays the same. Great game, S tier. Wrath Wars. I'm sure you've probably heard of it, and if you haven't, you've been living under a rock because this game absolutely slaps. You play as Youngblood Simon, who found himself some treasure, and because of your findings, all sorts of hooligans come try and take your bread from you. Pirates, Vikings, whatever the fuck these are, and even your own neighbors try to take your treasure away, so you have to defend yourself with tennis ball cannons. Depending on the amount of shots it takes you to complete each level, you'll earn more and more money, sort of like golf, which you can choose to spend on either upgrading your raft or ballistic missiles. Upgrading your raft gives you a larger area to work with, and you recruit your friend who helps you defend your treasure. After you beat the shit out of various groups of people, your neighbors are back this time with their entire family, and what's new? Well, they took your family hostage. Your neighbors have the power of shooting not baseballs, not axes, but grenades out of their launchers, so you have to be careful or you'll get team wiped pretty fast. But with a bit of preparation and precise aim, you can triumph and free your parents. And never mind, they switched up and took your little homie hostage. In hopes of keeping the treasure all to themselves, it looks like your parents have turned against you, so the only natural course of action is to kill them in cold blood. After that, you live happily ever after, basking in your endless wealth. The soundtrack hits, and the goes hard. S tier. Electric Man 2 is a fighting game where you play as a whatever chosen color you picked electric highlighted stick man who throws straight hands. You have several different attacks being your basic punch, basic kick, and knee to the face. Additionally, you have what are called strong moves that put you in a badass slow motion sequence of either a jump kick, spinning punch, or this move. You face off against increasingly difficult robots that can take on the ability to heal, dodge, or just outright swarm you with their numbers. The animations are super awesome, the game is a ton of fun, and the combat's super satisfying. Simple and good. S tier. Lastly, to finish off our list, is Riddle School 5. Now unlike Riddle School 3, this game has you escape not a school, but a spaceship. You see, according to the Riddle School quote-unquote lore, the previous games have been dreams that aliens have simulated for you in an effort to decide if Earth was worth destroying or not, yada yada yada. But you wake up in Riddle School 5 on a spaceship with the objective of freeing your friends so you can take the escape pods home. The puzzles in this game are immaculate, with the futuristic setting providing much more opportunity for cooler shit to happen. Like, you trap this weird beast inside of a room by going invisible and then locking the door behind it with a stolen keycard. Fast forward to when you enter a mysterious room with only a chair and a TV remote. You have to input the room numbers of your friends to enter their dreams. You enter their dreams to free them from the force field surrounding them, which can only be achieved by killing them, to wake them up. Furthermore, after freeing your friends and sending them away on escape pods, you have to free them yet again because they get captured by the evil overlord Viz. The whole story and process is much better explained than I could do here, but the game is a great play and I would highly recommend trying it out. S tier. That's the list. Subscribe or I'll
In the